Welcome to another episode of the Fanzone podcast. Your home for all things Bolton Wanderers, up the Trotters, the Northwest's #1 podcast.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Welcome back to another episode of the Fanzone podcast. It is, of course, another post-match podcast, which means this evening's episode, along with the rest of the post-match podcast for this season, are sponsored by Loving My Socials. Now, if you want to find out any more about Loving My Socials and the wonderful person that is Leanne, then if you head over to our website, www.thefanzonepod.co.uk, you can do exactly that. But it is time to get stuck in to another episode of the Fanzone podcast. Thank you all very much for joining us. I can see some of you in the live chat already, so thank you very much. Channel members, of course, and especially warm welcome to you. Joined by myself, Colin, and Dan again makes a return to the Fanzone podcast. How are we both doing this evening? Carl, we'll start with you. How are you, my friend?
A bit sensitive, but I'm all right. Not too bad. Nothing a little bit of 1664 won't do to sort out. There are other lagers available, of course. I'm good. I'm all right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I must say we haven't heard back from San Miguel after we made a ploy to them in last week's episode.
Not yet.
Not yet. And Dan, how are you this evening, mate?
I'm good, mate. Yeah, I'm not so bad. You need Ivan Campo going as a middleman for that deal, I think. But yeah, I'm okay. Nice chilled one today for me. Not too despondent after the game yesterday, which obviously we'll get into, but yeah, all good.
Indeed. We will get stuck straight into that. And of course, Dan Sumner, thank you for kindly pointing out that the Collins goal is still in the intro, and that is because none of you have bothered to send in any clips. So if you don't like the clips that are in the intro, then please feel free to send in some new ones. Otherwise, stop whinging about it. Is all I'm going to say. Send them in on Twitter. Send us an email. And,
if anybody's got any of that one from yesterday, that'd be magic.
Yes,
100%.
Yes. That is our petition. If you've got,
we've got a few to choose from, haven't we? We could get in. Sorry, Ben. We've got a good few finishes that we've seen already, like this season, pre-season, that we could get on there. If we're not a fan of the Collins one,
someone's got to have that one from Hibs. I'm sure I saw that floating around.
Yeah.
But yeah, get them sent in, and we'll get them stuck in the episode intros and of course the outros as well. But it makes sense. We may as well jump straight in. Play along at home as always. It is time for our post-match reactions. So then, of course, Bolton Wanderers 1, Leyton Orient 1, a scoreline we are fairly familiar with this season, as this evening's episode is aptly titled Bolton Wandrawers. It feels like we might be seeing a little bit too much of this drawing business. Colin, your thoughts, your immediate thoughts after the game, and have they changed slightly as the weekend's gone on?
No, not really. I thought we were very, very sloppy yesterday. Nothing like what we were against Wimbledon. And to be honest with you, it's becoming a little bit of a concern for me now, if I'm honest. I think we need to start to see more from the players consistently. We need to go on a bit of a run of results, wins, should I say specifically. And I'm also a little bit concerned that as amazing as Mario Kozadubri is, that we're becoming a little bit reliant upon the lad, to be honest, and it's like a niggle at the back of my mind. Yesterday, I think we probably would. Yeah, we did. No, we don't. There's no probably about it. We definitely deserved enough from the game. Oh, sorry, something from the game, and a draw was probably, I would say, certainly based on performances, a fair result. But yeah, we need to go on a run, and it needs to start on Saturday, and then it needs to carry on throughout the month of September. The only saving grace is that we're only 6 points from Cardiff in first, which says a lot about the division. And we're also not conceding many goals as well, which again is a positive thing. I don't want to sound too much like Shuey in the sense that I'm liking what I'm seeing, because I am to an extent, but I'm not at the same time. So yeah, we just need to go on a run of wins ASAP.
Yeah, I think you have hit the I would love to be able to talk this evening. It seems like you've hit the nail on the head. Dan, would you tend to agree with the things that Colin has said there? Are you? It's a difficult balance, isn't it? Because the performances on the whole have been good, and we are perhaps not used to seeing that consistency in performances. However, the consistency that we seem to have picked up in terms of drawing games and not being able to put teams to bed is a cause for concern. How are you sort of balancing both of those feelings?
Yeah, so I'm not too concerned at the minute, even though obviously we can be frustrated by what we're seeing. I think because the performances have been so good, it's a tricky place to be, because I think Shuey talks really well, and I tend to agree with him when he speaks, when he's reflecting on the games. Yesterday, we got into some really good positions, and I just felt it with decision making that let us down. The midfield, it was a bit loose in midfield yesterday. We weren't quite as snappy and quite as on it, and maybe I have to give credit to them for that. I don't know. I didn't think they were much cop, if I'm being honest. Scored off their only pretty much decent chance, but we get into some really good positions, and then it's in the first half. You've got Joel Randall wanting to take a touch with his left foot rather than trying to get it under with his right and maybe knock it back. Then you've got Thierry Gale, who's got that kind of side foot finish into the corner on, and he takes an extra touch, and then flip it in the second half, and you've got Thierry Gale then shooting at the near post instead of maybe knocking it across. I just think we need a bit of luck, and it's like, how do you get them margins on your side? Because we're going from good performances and not scoring enough to still having this, like, if they shoot, they might score, but then we seem to have to score a worldie to get ball back at net. And I felt like that for a while about Bolton, to be honest. I always feel like that we have to work 10 times out of the opposition to score a goal, and that's probably pre-Shuey as well. I'm not concerned. How do you change it? Is it just keep going and waiting for it to gel? Is it personnel tweaks? Is it tactical? I don't know, but we're doing enough to win games every week. So at this stage of the season, I don't really mind. If it was the latter end of the season, it'd be more of a concern, I think.
Yeah, very balanced, and yeah, I think you're right there to say that the performances have been good, and that is something that we haven't been used to seeing when we've not won games. Because I mean, particularly towards the end of last season and in times under Ian Evatt, didn't feel like we rarely came away from games that we'd lost or drawn, where we hadn't picked up all the points that we wanted. We'd not really come away from those games thinking we really should have got 3 points there, or we deserved more from that game. And a lot of the comments in the chat tending to be on sort of the same page.
Sorry, Ben. We'll go back to the comments closer because they're really important. But I don't think we played well at all, if I'm honest, yesterday. I don't think we weren't great. I think that was probably our worst performance of the season, that yesterday. Which is, am I the only one that sees that as a little bit of a concern?
No, I think you're absolutely right. And I think I said in the chat yesterday that that was our worst performance of the season, and we still managed to draw, which I think says a lot about us as a football team at the minute. And a lot
more about how poor the league is, the teams that we're playing.
Well, no, because I mean that excuse could have been valid for last season. I mean, do you think Ian Evatt still keeps his job because he says, "Well, yeah, but rest of the division's crap, so really I should have another season," because I don't think that washes really, because we've seen lots of teams in this division get beat by other teams. No one's got an easy ride. There are teams in this division that are capable of taking points off anyone on any given day. So yeah.
There is, and I agree. Just to come in on what you said, Cole, I agree. The performance yesterday was probably one of the worst.
Yeah.
But when you can play like that and still, on the balance of play, probably have won, that's not bad going for me.
Yeah, it's not. But the balance of play doesn't get you points, and the only reason why we got a point yesterday was the fact that Mario Kozajubi scored probably one of the best goals that Leyton Orient Stadium's ever seen. So that's an issue for me, if I'm honest.
Yeah, we need to score more and stop these. When they're having a shot, they're scoring. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? But then, practically, what does that look like in the team? How are we going to sort that? And I'd be interested to know what people in the chat think about that as well. Because for me, it's like turning performances, stats, if you're into them, into the wins. What do we do? Is it personnel? Is it tactical? Is it confidence? I don't know.
I think a lot of it stems from the level that we're at, though, as well. That's another thing. The players that we've got weaknesses. Exactly. Otherwise, they wouldn't be playing at this level, would they? I think our expectations of these individuals at times may be a little bit too high as well.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily help.
Yeah, I think you're both absolutely right there. But I mean, it can't carry on. It does have to change at some point. Otherwise, we won't be anywhere near the playoffs if we just draw every week. But like you said, Dan, the question of how that changes is a big one that I'm sure is giving probably a lot of people headaches, especially Schumacher and his staff. It's not an easy fix, and if it was obvious, then we'd have probably won, 4 of our last 4 games. But yeah, it definitely can't continue. It is frustrating, but I think there are still some positives to take out of this. That if we can play that poorly and come away with a point, we'll probably be okay throughout the course of the season, assuming that results start coming sooner rather than later. And I think I also said as well, the frustrating thing for me was that against Wimbledon, it seemed like we had it figured out. Seems like we got it sorted and that it had clicked and that something had triggered that was going to make a difference and send us on a prolonged run of seeing those performances, picking up the points that they deserved. So it's frustrating to feel like, a week later we're having a similar conversation.
I think as well, to be fair, you got to give a little bit of credit yesterday, I suppose, to Leyton Orient. They did set up differently to what they would do normally.
Completely changed shape.
Yeah, I listened to the manager after the game, and he basically said that we've got too much respect for Bolton and we needed to change it to try and nullify them. So yeah, you got to give the opposition credit, I suppose, in that sense. And of course, they did finish, in the playoffs and got to Wembley last year as well. So they're not the worst outfit. Although I know they had quite a few players on loan, didn't they? But still, they've got that kind of winning mentality, haven't they? So maybe it isn't a bad result, I suppose, when you look at it at the end of the season away from home.
Yeah, I think whether it is a bad result or a good result will only become apparent at the end of the season as well. Probably won't show for quite a while whether that was a good point or a bad point. Okay, so yeah, post-match reactions. There is an air of frustration amongst fans, clearly. And to try and lighten the mood a little bit, it is, of course, time for our 3 up, 3 down. So send in yours in the chat as well. We'll start with our 3 ups. But yeah, it's 3 up, 3 down.
I think that's the only time that them spinning characters things are relevant, aren't they, on this segment, up and down? Because literally I follow myself going up and down on that then. There
you have it. We'll pretend that we did that on purpose. Right, let's have it then. Get yours in the chat. Your 3 up and your 3 down, or we'll do just put a positive in and then we'll do one negative. Colin, would you like to take it away with your up for the weekend?
My up? Yeah, of course. My up was the fact that I sat that one out yesterday and I spent a large percentage of the day with my little lad, which was lovely. And I don't normally do that every Saturday, especially when I tie myself down to go into them godforsaken away games to them hellholes are in this league. So yeah, I'm quite pleased that I didn't trek all the way down to London yesterday. Although it would have been nice to be in that away end, I guess, for that equaliser. But yeah, still, I'll take that as a positive.
Dan, what about you?
I think for the away fans, I weren't one of them yesterday. I was armchair supporting, but 94th minute equaliser, a goal of that calibre, it must have just been a great feeling to watch that fly in. So yeah, that'll be the one for me.
1,500 of them as well, Dan.
Yeah, good numbers, brilliant numbers as always, isn't it, for us?
Although I did speak to Chris and he was saying to me earlier on that, and I really like this as well, a decent percentage of them 1,500 yesterday were certainly south of Birmingham in terms of kind of where they travel from. I think it's really good that the fans from further afield get an opportunity to go to games, a little bit closer to home as well. London Whites have got a massive contingent, and there's plenty of other fans from down south as well that we know listen to the podcast. So yeah, that's it. So if you are listening from a further afield, then keep up your fantastic support, and hopefully you enjoyed that moment yesterday.
Indeed. My positive was I think just after Gale had won us a corner. I think he took the ball past his man and he hit it off their defender and it went out for a corner. And the camera panned to him and he was just smiling. And I've noticed it a lot when he takes the ball past someone, he has a shot. Even if he makes a mistake, he just smiles about it. And sometimes it's a bit annoying because it's like, I wish he'd stop smiling. But in that instance yesterday, he always looks so happy with himself. And he genuinely looks happy to be playing football. And that was my positive. We'll run through some of the ones in the chat. Jack, his positive was Mario is unbelievable.
He doesn't count though, does he? I don't think he should be included in ups or man of the match because he's going to be on it every single week. Yeah,
unfair advantage.
Use your imagination a little bit, guys.
David's gone for players, so he's gone 3 up. Dewberry, Sheehan, and Max. Dan has gone for that goal. Brandon has said his up was away fans. He absolutely loves it when it's bouncing like that, and I can only imagine what that away end must have felt like. I think John McGinley actually said on co-commentary that they hadn't stopped singing since the start of the second half, and that was about 70 minutes in. Certainly an atmosphere to be commended.
Can I put another down on? Have I given my down yet?
We've not done it yet. You're getting ahead of yourself.
I am. I'm sorry.
Nick, his positive. We have good players who can play good football. Leslie has got to be Dewberry and Max Conway. All very fair comments indeed. So we will, Colin. You're eager to give us your down. Do share.
I was going to pick a football related one, and that's not to appease David because I know David is adamant that we do this purely for football. But I'm gonna say the coverage on that. Oh God, it's absolutely awful. Yeah. This is not John and what's the other fella called who does it with my mind?
Derek Clark.
Yeah, that's not an issue. It's just the coverage just in general is absolutely biz. That random music being played like 3/4 of the way through, cameras like stuck on players for like 5 minutes for some weird reason. It's awful. And then sock shop. Oh, I tweeted about it yesterday. They're doing my head in now, especially after a poor performance. Honestly. I mean, if you want to come and sponsor a sock shop, I'll take it all back, obviously, but I'm not a fan of that. It does me head in. And for the football people amongst us with downs, I'm going to say George Johnson. I love Jono. He's been a stalwart for the club. He's a really nice fella, but he's getting a little bit from in the way that Shuey wants to play. He's getting a bit found out a little bit. He's been very wasteful in possession, and it's concerning me a little bit, to be honest. He's done it a few times this season, give the ball away, and not really playing that well this season, to be honest with you. He's getting found out a little. He's getting found out a little bit. It's a bit of a concern of mine that I think we might see him at the team sooner rather than later. But yeah, that's my football day.
Interesting. And Dan, how about you?
Well, I nearly piped up last week and defended him because I thought he was getting a bit of unfair stick, was Teddy Sharman-Law. But after seeing that on Saturday, I'm not sure. I think I'm kind of moving over to that way of thinking. I thought it was poor. I don't know why he came out, and if he was coming out, make sure you're getting something on the ball.
Yeah.
As well as that, it was pretty poor defending because we had a load of men back. But Teddy, he is concerning me a little bit at the minute. Hopefully he can come good, but as of this weekend, I wasn't overly impressed.
He's not conceded many though, has he?
He's not. No, but then that's a collective effort in it, I suppose.
It is, but it's also the organisation of the goalkeeper and how he commands his box and the confidence that he gives the defenders. Yeah. So there's a little bit of that as well.
No, I appreciate that. And I think in some games he has commanded his box really well. And I'm not knocking him for that. I'm purely talking about Saturday. And I just think for that goal, he could have done better.
He could. I think the problem we've got is because we're in League One and we're getting these top young players sent to us, you're going to get moments where they're not going to be great because they're learning the game. That's why they've been sent to League One. Yeah. He's not going to be perfect, is he? He's going to make mistakes. But I think all in all, he's been pretty sound for me, in my opinion. I think he'll have a better season than he will have worse.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, he's got qualities. His distribution's fantastic. He can come and claim a cross. Whether he's just unlucky with it, but it does seem like every shot that goes in as a goal this season, he might have just done something a bit better. Apart from the deflections, I'm not going to criticise him for them. I think maybe he could have just done a bit better at Blackpool yesterday as well.
That goal yesterday, though, wasn't his fault. That was Burstall's fault for switching off.
He's poor I think it was a rash decision to run out the way.
Yeah, but you got to track your runners. We were down to 10 men. Burstall needs to be switched on. Burstall was at fault yesterday for that goal. 100% if we were ball watching. It's not the keeper's fault, that.
I don't think he.
Let's try and make himself big, doesn't he? Get out, doesn't he? Do you know what I mean? Because we're a man down.
I know what you're saying, and I know Burstall. Yeah, he could have done better there, but I don't know.
People won't criticise Burstall because he's scoring goals, and this is the thing. But when they get in the training ground tomorrow, the person that will be getting analysed for that goal will be Burstall because he was at fault for it. He switched off.
I don't think you can place individual blame on anyone for that goal. I mean, Burstall's not tracked his man, but the ball comes into the box too easy. Sharman-Law is a little bit rash in coming out, and then.
But when you're down to 10 men, Ben, which we were, you need to be more switched on.
Well, yeah, of course, but that's. I mean,
and he ran off his shoulder.
That's not any one person's fault. I mean, the fact that the ball was played for the first pass was Burstall not tracking his man, but the ball comes into the box and gets past Sharman-Law really quite easily.
Yeah. Interesting debate, I guess.
My negative was going to be the coverage, and I was going to particularly mention the fact that the ball was in play and we were just sat looking at Josh Sheehan for about 3 minutes.
I know, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
Just absolutely mental.
If ever you want a reason to go to an away match, it's just so you don't have to watch that.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's better. You might be better off listening to it on Radio Manchester or whatever. It's shocking.
Audio only.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's run through some of the ones in the chat, though. I've seen a couple that are pretty good. Brandon, his down was dropping his McDonald's. I hope you managed to salvage your Monopoly stickers, Brandon.
Devastating.
Yeah, absolutely. Heart-wrenching there for Brandon. Nick, his negative was getting that final ball right. Burstow could be scoring a lot more with the right service, which I think is a very, very fair point. We've had Colin's down is that we don't have European Cup winners in the team.
Yeah.
It's a suggestion from Brandon.
We would concede stupid goals like that if we did.
I can't seem to see any more. I think that's more or less all of them. Right, there you are. 3 up, 3 down, ladies and gents. Thank you very much for playing along. We appreciate your contributions in the chat. Your contributions this evening has been fantastic. The chat's been really, really busy. So thank you all very much. We will move on. It is time to hand over to our resident statman on what is a delightful Sunday evening. And Callum, if you are watching, thank you very much for getting your segment together for us. We do appreciate it. We'll hand over to Callum for the Gaffer's Notebook.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my segment of the Fanzone podcast, and today we're of course reviewing another 1-1 draw, this time against Leyton Orient. Another disappointing result, and again similar issues as I've been saying for what feels like every week. But anyway, we'll come on to that in just a second. So first thing I want to touch on is that it was very interesting that they sacked off their normal 4-2-3-1. You know, everyone thought they were going to play a 4-2-3-1. They played a 4-2-3-1 in every other game this season. But it seems like you're getting a bit of a reputation as a team that can't break anyone down, because that would be the only real reason to switch into a back five, as they did. And they did properly sit in. And you've got to say, it worked. They only had 38% possession of the ball, which is a complete change from every other game this season where they pretty much dominated it. But yeah, you should have won, shouldn't you? If we're being honest, because I should, just before I go on to some more stats, I have to apologise for my voice. That is going. The stat man has a weekend morning job and it absolutely kills his voice. But anyway, let's go on to some stats, shall we? So, just to put your domination into perspective, you made 304 accurate passes, with 91 of them in the final third, which is a bit obscene. You had 30 touches in the opposition's box as well. So you hammered him, basically. Should have scored more than you did. That is, I could end the segment here by just saying, take your chances. But I won't, because I've got more to say. Now, I think for me, the main issue of the game, at least, not of the whole season, but of that particular game, was that Morley didn't have quite the same impact as he did against Wimbledon when he pushed up into the higher roll. So just to show what I mean, let's go to the tactics board, shall we? So, I've set up their average positions and I've set up your starting 11. So when you're attacking, as I'm sure you're aware, Conway got stuck in, Morley went up here, Simons held down the middle, which I'll come on to in a second. And to be fair, even Cogley got forward quite often. But when the ball got into this sort of area and Morley was in a bit of a battle, he would usually have more than one man on him. He'd have the midfielder and sometimes the centre half as well. And yeah, that's not ideal, is it? Especially when it's the exact same situation on this side. It just doesn't work because, yeah, they defended quite well, to be fair, even though you should have scored more than you did. But yeah, they did defend pretty well. You've got to give it to them. But yeah, another thing I want to say as well is this. Now, Simons is a very, very, very good footballer. He has had a cracking start to the season. But I do not care who you are. Unless you're Sergio Busquets or Rodri, you cannot run the midfield on your own. It is impossible. Now, this man right here, who I've not numbered, Jack Morehouse, did not have the impact I was expecting. However, you did see, at times, he'd pick up the ball here and he'd just bypass both of them easily. Because his dribbling is a joke. Now, this won't happen in every game, obviously. But yeah, his dribbling is disgusting. And whether it's a dribble from Morehouse or a pass from another player or a run or a dummy run or anything, you can't run the midfield on your own. Even when people play a 4-3-3 with one holding midfielder, you normally have someone else who sits off a bit deeper. So going forward, and I've said this already, but I'm going to keep saying it until it happens, because it should happen. I want to see the attacking midfielder, whoever it is, Randall, Morley, McAtee, Force, anyone. I want to see them in this area here, in the right half space, in between the centre forward and the right winger. And I want to see Conway up here, in the left half space. Now, that does give him a lot of ground to cover, does it not? Because that is obviously quite a large space. But when Johnston shifts over and Farino or Toll, whoever it is, shifts over, you've still got a very good, safe structure here. And if you're playing against the formation you were playing against, he's drawn a line. He was nearly bang on with the tactics board today. But yeah, this man right here is going to follow Conway inside because he'll feel he have to, or he's going to sit on Gale and this guy's going to tuck in, right? Yes, it leaves a lot of space there, but is there anyone in the space? No. And that is pretty much all I have to say, to be honest, because I think we can all agree Conway is an absolute joke of a footballer. And I just want to see him more involved, because it feels like he's a spare part right now, even though he consistently seems to have the most dribbles and most chances created and all that. You imagine you just played him a bit higher. You actually put him as part of a set structure. But yeah, I've not got much else to say, so I am going to leave it there. And hopefully you enjoy the rest of the show. And I will see you very soon. Goodbye.
Wonderful from our statman, as always. Thank you very much. And Callum can talk about Conway moving in on that inside until he's blue in the face. I thought Randall did an okay job in terms of movement and in terms of space and in terms of the positions that he picked up and he found himself in. I thought his end product was the thing that let him down drastically. Passing when he should have shot. Not passing the ball well enough. Not weighting his passes correctly. I thought from a positional point of view, I really liked the spaces that he found himself in. There was a pass from Conway that went right through where Randall picked it up and he could have crossed it. But he took a little bit too long and sort of got too close to the keeper. Thank you, Adam. Thank you. I was actually going to say thank you, Josh, as well, for sending in the £1.99 earlier. But Adam, you have blown that out of the water with a £10 donation. Thank you. Both of the donations we appreciate very, very much. Thanks for sending in your super chats. Now, I will say that is 1-0 to me. We did have one last week whilst Colin was talking, which I believe was to the sum of £5, Laura. If you're in the chat, can you confirm for us?
Nah, we're centre as well.
Oh, was it? Well,
yeah.
There you are, 1-1.
Statman's
got one as well. But yes, I think Randall positionally had an okay game. His end product was what let him down. And that number 10 role is something that we spoke about, or I spoke about on the preview show quite a lot in terms of the player swap segment, who I would like in there, and our number 10 being a little bit of a sore spot for us. And I just wanted to get not only the viewers, but Carl and Dan, your thoughts as well on that number 10 role. Obviously, McAtee has found himself out of the squad. Fours, could he be that number 10? Do we go two up top and play with a Burstow sitting a little bit deeper and Dalby up front? Dan, we'll hand over to you first. What are your thoughts on that number 10 spot? Is it a concern for you?
It is a little bit. Obviously, Shuey sees it as an important position and the way he wants his team structure to set up. But looking at Nick Wadeson's comment before, I do agree that we've got so much talent in that midfield area, centre midfield area. I just wonder what it would look like if we did go to a 4-3-3 with, like he says, the eights kind of advancing, Morley, Simons, who very much box-to-box player, Morley kind of less so, but you think he could still do a job there. Yeah, I don't know. Randall, I agree with you, Benny. He got into some brilliant brilliant positions yesterday, and he nearly did something well, but it just didn't come off. The pass, that final bit of decision making, and he's not alone in that. That's throughout the team. We've kind of lacked that this season, but I don't know. I think there's certain games where I'd probably prefer Randall. Certain games where if we are playing a 10, it's going to be McAtee, and obviously I'm not sure what Force is like there. I'll be honest, but see what he's like as well. But we've got just an abundance of quality in that midfield area. Just wonder what that team might look like with 3 in the midfield. So wait and see, I suppose, won't we?
We will indeed. Alex has just said, "How's Dan Sumner talking and typing at the same time?" Thanks, Alex, for the comment. This is Dan S version 2. This is not Dan S version 1. Colin, what about that number 10 spot for you? How are you feeling about it? Are you looking at other options for who can come into the squad and shake things up a bit, or are you trusting the process with Randall?
I think it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think if you ask 80% of this league in terms of its fan base, I think pretty much every single team would swap their number 10s, if they have one, of course, for either or McAtee and Joe Randall, which is quite interesting, isn't it, really? Because I think they're both perfectly capable at this level. And they've shown it. I just think I'm not so sure going to a flat 4-3-3 would work, if I'm honest, because I think the way in which Shuey wants his 10 to be that ever-present in them kind of pressing pockets would be a huge detriment, because I don't think that the other midfielders have necessarily got that in the locker and have that engine to be that press that Randall's producing week in, week out. And I'm not sure. I think playing that kind of triangular kind of midfield, if you will, the way we're doing at the moment, works for me, if I'm honest. I think we're just going to have to kind of trust the process a little bit and hope that the lad we've got from Borough can come on and start to make that his own, maybe. I'm not so sure I like the thought of Burstall dropping in as a 10, certainly from the start. I don't mind it in-game. Link play is one of his strong points, but for him to start that with a 9 alongside him, I'm not so sure that works, to be honest with you. We're just going to have to be a little bit patient, and we'll keep going back to that, don't we? It's an ever-present in the conversation that gel word is certainly not there yet, is it? Maybe our Statman, he might think that playing Max Conway as a 10 would work. You know?
maybe we'll ask him to touch on that in his next segment. The reason specifically for pointing on Joe Randall there, David Green, longest time viewer of the Fanzone podcast, I should say, sent in a DM on Twitter, just explaining his thoughts, not really complimenting the players around him, choosing the wrong pass, delaying a shot on goal, perhaps pulling out of tackles. And he actually highlighted that not just with Randall, but the role of all of those forwards that come in on the inside, whether it be the wingers cutting in or the number 10s, those inside forwards have a really important role to play in this system. Callum mentioned it in the preview with the Statman wanting him to come up into that left-hand side, just on the inside of the fullback and the forward. And it is a really important position, and it feels like that it's that decision making, or perhaps that indecision that we're seeing time and time again, that crops up and causes some of these mistakes. And the frustration is when you see Kozia Dubry, who can cut inside and absolutely unleash a screamer like that out of absolutely nowhere, when he cuts inside and perhaps his pass is misplaced or his cross is misplaced, there's that element of, it's like, just we need a little bit of consistency. And it's not saying for 1 minute that he should be banging them in every week, and that's the bar. But it does feel like those inside forwards, that 3 across the front there, could be doing a little bit more. Especially, I can imagine Burstow must have been getting a little bit frustrated with some of the deliveries that he was receiving. I think crosses, again, is a huge part of our game. And particularly against Orient, they just felt a little bit poor. Colin,
I think. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to ask for your thoughts, so you've led me perfectly into it. Go on.
No, I was going to say, talk about Joe Randall. I think we should lean on the fact that BWFC 714 is in the chat and see whether he or she could maybe come up with a few statistics based on his performances from this season, because as you all know, that particular handle is rather useful on socials as regards to stats.
Yeah. If you aren't following on Twitter already, make sure you are.
Yeah, that just shows there are other stats people available, doesn't it?
Yeah.
As I said before, I just think we need to be a little bit patient with the situation, in all honesty. I don't really know how much more I can add to that, in fairness.
It seems like at the minute, doesn't it, that those of us who were, and I think there's a lot of people who are more kind of optimistic, definitely glass half full than half empty. But it is a bit boring saying it every week, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When's it going to actually change? We want it to change. We hoped it were going to be against Wimbledon. Probably only ended up being 3-0, obviously, because of 10 and 9 men, stuff like that. We just want it to change, don't we? I think on Randall, I think he does me head in, don't get me wrong, but he's a bit of he's an easy target, isn't he, Randall, because of the way he plays. With that 10, they used to be seen as like luxury players. I will say his work rate has come on tenfold since the start.
I've got a question for you. Sorry,
Yeah.
I just thought of something, right? I don't want to interject, although you know what I'm like.
You go for it.
I will do that.
Yeah.
I'll ask you and all of the people in the chat, and this might sound like a stupid and ridiculous and outlandish thing to say, but if Joe Randall had a skinhead, would people be so on him? What I mean by that is he's an easy target. He's an easy target in the way he plays, but I do often think the way he looks and the way
Because he's got blonde highlights that he gets bullied more.
No, listen, he's an easy target, isn't he? And I think people jump on that because of the way he portrays himself, and I think it could be a thing.
I'm not sure I agree with that, Col, I have to say. He's got obviously.
Alex has mentioned already about the Rick Astley trim straight away.
I'm no expert on hairstyles. Obviously, I haven't been for about 25 years. But
isn't the
mullet like one of the in things now? So I don't think you can really rip him on his haircut.
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah. Whilst I appreciate the sentiment of what you're saying, I think it's that we've had a conversation about this, haven't we, before, about low socks. The low socks, the blonde highlights, they all give off this aura, if you will, this sense of trickery and flair and like perhaps
a bit of a nonchalance about it.
Yeah.
And
when that doesn't come off, there is that air of, come on, what are you doing? I'm not sure. I can't even imagine Joe Randall with a skinhead, to be fair. Maybe that's a suggestion for him. Joel, if you're watching, shave your hair off and maybe you'll start banging in 20 goals a season.
We'll see him against Wigan come in.
I was talking specifically about about the fact that he's an easy target. Not with that automatically meaning that he's going to start banging 20 yarders into the top corner.
No. But if he does shave his hair and get a tattoo on his face, then maybe
on his face.
Yeah, maybe we'll see bigger things from Joe Randall.
Well, what is funny though, isn't it? Because McAtee, he doesn't get as much stick when he does play as Joe Randall.
No, that is fair. I mean, I don't know. McAtee did have to come off socials because he was getting rinsed, to be fair.
No, but he's got a song about him, and people, I don't know, he gets less stick.
I just feel like he gets a bit more leeway
because he's local. And because he's a bit rougher around the edges, I don't think he gets as much stick.
Is it that though, or is it
gets
like
more praise anyway?
McAtee's like, you can knock his final delivery shot, whatever, but he's always put himself about and been a bit of a grafter. When we signed him from Barnsley, he was that kind of, I'm not going to swear obviously, but that wind-up player. That's what he was at Barnsley. He did it against us. So I don't know. You might be onto something, Col. I don't know.
Listen, I was purely talking about, like I said, the fact that he is an easy target. That's all I was trying to get at. You know, if he gives out a different vibe or whatever, then he might not get as much shit. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think there probably is actually an element of truth to that. I think I can see where you're coming from. Yeah, but anyway,
Made you all laugh anyway. I'm sure people were laughing at home as well.
Yeah, it's the Fanzone Man of the Match segment, and if we agree that we're
changed his music, I hope we've changed his music.
It wasn't this one; it was Fan Focus that was the wrong DJ track, which has also been rectified, or it should have been anyway. I look like a bit of an idiot now if it's not. But Fanzone Man of the Match, and if we're saying we're banning Cozy Dewberry, it probably doesn't leave many more options.
He's banned. You can't say him.
We'll go for it anyway. Thank you for watching this evening's episode of the Fanzone podcast. Until the next time, take care, and we'll see you all very soon.
Next one, try.
Sorry, what do you even search for to get the end result of that music?
Go on, Ben.
I don't know. Is the honest answer?
Just interested. No worries.
Now, I must admit, I have actually just changed Fanzone Fan Focus as well because I assumed that was also wrong. It looks like what I might have done is changed the wrong segment. There you have it. Behind the scenes, Ben doesn't always get the behind the scenes stuff nailed clearly.
Behind the scenes, Ben.
I can't remember who it was who coined me that in the chat, and I wasn't quite sure whether to take offence to it or not. But yeah, there you have it.
Maybe they like you more now you've got your hair down, Ben. Maybe you won't get.
Well, actually, I did. I'm not sure if it's still starred. David Jones, your hair looks much better down, Ben, with a emoji. Thank you very much, David Jones.
We're getting blonde highlights in it next.
Oh yeah, and then I will become an easy target for people to take the mic, won't I? A completely unrelated story. I was actually in a pub on Friday night, and a gentleman came over to me who I had no idea who he was, and he just started stroking my hair and telling me that I had he coined them luscious locks. Not sure if I was being groomed or not, but yeah, there you all are. The reason I'm stalling is because I have got live from behind the scenes a new clip to play for you all with the right music attached. Just waiting for the little circle of doom to stop spinning so that I can press it on StreamYard, but it's taking substantially longer than I would have anticipated.
Yeah.
Make sure you get your comments in the chat for Fanzone Man of the Match. Let us know who you thought. Of course, Cozy Dewberry is banned. Otherwise, it would just be unfair. But it's Fanzone Man of the Match. Not bad for behind the scenes, eh? Right then, ladies and gents, Fanzone Man of the Match. Dan, we'll hand over to you first. Who is your Fanzone Man of the Match, please?
No, Cozy Dewberry. Not doing that away.
It's too easy.
No.
Right,
too good. He shouldn't be playing in League One, and he probably won't be.
It won't be after January. No, definitely not. Yeah, Conway. I've seen a couple of comments in the chat. Conway, I agree. It's becoming almost. You might have to stop either Cozy Dewberry or Conway being man of the match. He's been great all season, but yeah, I completely agree with what people are saying in the chat. Conway, he's looking levels above at the minute. You know, he really is. He's a proper talent.
Yes, an exceptional player, and it's been fantastic to see him break into the first team, but not just break into the first team, to look so comfortable in the first team that you would have had him put there for the last 3-4 seasons. And at his age, that is a huge testament, I'm sure, to hard work, but also a compliment on the talent that he seems to have as well. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate the kind words in the chat. Billy Ray Cyrus, I think I've had that one before. And Dan Sumner looks better down on the barber's floor. Thank you also for
yes, 100%.
Although coming from someone with no hair, Dan, I find that a little bit rich, but we'll not talk too much on that. Nick, can Ben play number 10 and how does he wear his socks? I could play number 10 for about 45 seconds and I'll have to be subbed off with a defibrillator on standby.
I've seen Ben knocking a ball about on Gig Lane. I wouldn't put us through that, if I'm honest.
Colin, who's your man of the match, mate?
Special mentions to Chris Farino. I thought he defended his box very well yesterday.
Farino like Ronaldinho.
Farino. I also
That's
think
why Beef is Brazilian.
Yeah, Javi Simons played okay as well in midfields. Not his best game, but I thought he played okay. But yeah, Max Conway was fantastic once again, and I think we can't really look away from him. I think his biggest compliment in a way, not even necessarily he's going forward. I think he's pretty. His recoveries are really, really impressive. And I think defensively he's impressing me just as much as he is offensively. But yeah, man of the match has to be Max Conway, with the exception of Mario Kozagibre.
Now, Max Conway is our man of the match, not just because you two have said it, but because our third vote goes for Conway as well. I saw a comparison, I think that was on Twitter. It might have been in the podcast. I'm not entirely sure. But I think I saw it on Twitter. The way that Max Conway plays and his impact on the game was referenced as very Conor Bradley-esque. And I thought about it and I watched the way that he plays and I thought back to some of the games. And I actually can see that quite clearly. His talent is just unbelievable. The way that he carries the ball was very, very similar to Bradley. The way he goes past players so easily, like they're almost not even there, is outstanding for a left.
I think if he brushes up on the in the final third in terms of maybe contributing a little bit more in terms of goals and assists, then you might be onto something there. I don't know whether he reminds me more of him because he's a left back, but it's like a B-Tech version of Marcos Alonso.
I agree.
I was too young to remember him playing properly, so fortunately I can't contribute on that.
Yeah, I probably say more along Marcos Alonso's comparisons than that's a stupid thing to say. European Cup winner, Premier League winner, whatever, Champions League winner, whatever else he won. Alonso.
No, he's that build though, isn't he? As well.
Like, yeah, I think that's one of the reasons.
I think that's part of it.
Yeah, I think so.
It's also worth mentioning Conor Bradley. We talked about their goal contributions and final thirds in his phenomenally impressive season with us. It's worth saying. Conor Bradley recorded 7 goals and 5 assists in 53 appearances for Wanderers before he was obviously returned to Liverpool.
That's funny, that, Alex. I'll give you that. That is quite funny. Yeah, really good, really impressive. For those who aren't,
please tell us.
Please remember Arne Gunn-Larsson. Alex has said, I'd say Cole looks like Arne Gunn-Larsson with her. It's good that.
Hell of a player.
Unbelievable.
Who was that guy that we had you referenced to? Someone off the telly. Someone from a film. Oh, so I'm sure it was Brandon who sent it in. He sent a picture of you. Or was it a wrestler? I think it might have been a wrestler.
What, saying I look like him?
Yeah, Brandon, please tell me who it was. I'm sure you put a picture of him on Twitter.
This very much feels like a Patreon episode, this, Ben. Can we get back on
lookalikes? Yeah, maybe we'll do a lookalike set special on Patreon. If you want to see that, head over to Patreon. The link is in our bio. You can choose your subscription status. Not Sloth from the Goonies, but maybe. My point was Conway's got 2 assists so far in 9 games. So he is on track to sort of equaling goal contributions if he carries on the way that he's going anyway. So yeah, your Fanzone man of the match from this week is Max Conway. Very well deserved.
And if you see a graphic popping up very quickly saying that he's the man of the match, why is that then?
It is all down to our magnificent graphics man. So we've got a stat man and a graphics man in Jordan Hookway, who is in the chat this evening. I have seen him contributing. Our graphics, most of them now are done by are done by Jordan. There are the odd few that we all chip in with, but the majority are done by Jordan, who is an exceptional addition to the team, it is worth saying. Right, it is time for Fan Focus. So please get your comments in the chat, get your talking points. We are heading up to the hour mark, so we'll try and bring this swiftly to a close. But of course, it is time for your section of the Fanzone podcast, which is Fan Focus. Nick, you will be delighted to know that after the Wigan game, we will be in the fan zone, getting all of our post-match instant match reactions. I do apologise. And Nick, if you would like to return to the Fanzone podcast instant match reactions video, then you can do exactly that with crystal clear precision audio, courtesy of the Fanzone podcast. So yeah, make sure you're in the fan zone after the Wigan game. The microphones are working. A solution has been found, and we can't wait to get back in the fan zone and talking to you all. Yeah, Nick, your analysis of that Wimbledon game was excellent. It was a shame that we couldn't include it, but yeah.
Brandon said, "Do I own anything other than a white T-shirt?" Believe it or not, this is actually yellow. Funnily enough, Brandon.
But is that a butter yellow T-shirt, Colin? Are you on trend for?
It's a butter yellow T-shirt. Yeah, that's going to be getting vacuum packed into the loft for next summer, because I don't think yellow is very good when the weather turns. But yeah, it's a yellow T-shirt. This, believe it or not.
Yeah, there you are. Very, very on trend, Colin, I must say.
I've got a question, and I want more people to throw questions into the chat that doesn't involve my clothing and my amount of white T-shirts. We have had rumours circulating on Alan Nixon's X account today, gentlemen. I'll start with you, Dan, about Mario Cosi-Dewberry potentially going to Sheffield United, which Radix has reminded us of earlier in the episode. I'd be very, very disappointed to see us lose any players to Sheffield United, if I'm honest with you, but that's another story. Any concerns, Dan, on that? And obviously there are going to be concerns, aren't there? And if there is, how do you feel about it?
Well, yeah, worried. He's that good, isn't he? We all know that. It wouldn't surprise me if that was the case. Obviously, I don't know the details of the loan, whether there's the recall option, whatever. But could you blame Brighton when he's absolutely flying for us for wanting to move him up a league? I suppose it all comes down to planning, doesn't it? They'll want to see. I mean, Shuey will have a short list of what they're going to look for in January. He won't be daft. He'll know that potentially he could be on his way back. And I've got faith in Board. I would hate to see him go because he's just phenomenal, but that's just the reality of football, isn't it? Especially at this level. You know, you play well, you move on, you move up. So, yeah, I'd be gutted, like I imagine all of us would be, but it wouldn't surprise me if that was the outcome.
Yeah, Ben, obviously Ruben Sellers has been sacked today as manager of Sheffield United. A couple of people put that in the comments. Is that meaning now it's a non-starter or a non-story, as Dan's put? Or do you think, similar to us, that the manager doesn't necessarily sign the players? And I'm sure that's still the case with Sheffield United.
I think if you'd have asked somebody maybe 5 years ago, a little bit longer, whether that meant it was a non-starter, the answer would probably have been yes. I think now football has changed a lot. There are so many people involved in not only the scouting of players, but the recruitment of players as well, that poses an entirely different question. We saw it here with Fergal Harkin, that a lot of the players were coming off of his, and Schumacher will have seen the players, of course, but not necessarily directly involved in the decision-making of whether that player is scouted any further or whatever it may be. So it definitely adds a different dynamic onto whether how much traction the rumour has got. I read an article from Football League World that said that the recall clause is included in his loan deal from Brighton. listen, it's a tough. I think a lot of people said the same about Connor Bradley during his time with us. There was lots of questions being raised over whether he would be with us for the second half of the season. And I think when a player is performing at the level that Cozy Dewberry is, yes, they are. It's inevitable there are going to be rumours. He didn't really hit the ground running at Blackburn. He was okay there.
Injuries, didn't he?
Yeah, I think the deciding factor will be Brighton. I don't think. I think that it will be their final call as to what they think is best for him.
I also think I mentioned it last week just to throw my two-penny thing before I tipped over the hour, Ben. But I do also think that it depends on whereabouts we are as well. I do think if we are in that kind of top two conversation and he's flying, and the expectancy is for us to then push on to try and win the league or certainly finish in that top two, Brighton might just be happy keeping him where he is, like Liverpool did with Connor. So it all depends. We weren't messing about in 10th or 8th or 7th or whatever it might be, then we have to expect him to be called back if that is the case. But if we're in that kind of top 2, top 3 conversation by then, we might be all right.
I think there's definitely... Yeah, sorry, Ben. I think there's definitely an argument for that he's producing for us week in, week out. So if he can show that kind of consistency, it might be an option for Brighton to think, well, hang on, he's settled here. He's producing the goods week in, week out. He's showing a level of consistency. Maybe that is the right move for him at the minute to stay with us. You never know, do you?
Absolutely. I think someone mentioned it in the podcast last week. I think we touched on this. It is very uncommon for a lone player to be recalled and then go off and carry on that same impact at a different club. I think it's probably, well, this might be through rose-tinted glasses, but I think it would be in Brighton's best interest to, let him carry on doing what he is doing and knowing that he's going to play every week, knowing the impact that he can have, rather than take another, risk, if you will, in sending him up a division where he might not start all the time, he might not have the same impact, and that could absolutely smash his confidence. And then at the end of the season, they're back at square one with him.
Just to finalise off end, should I say, on tonight's segment, just bring up Daryl's, obviously another guest of the show, comment, Ben, just to go through that. Daryl said, basically backs up what you just said, Ben, in a nutshell. I don't think Brighton would want to either sell him or recall him. He's excellent, but he still needs game experience, and League One is a great place to get that. Absolutely. And he's too good of an asset to sell. So I think that's just about cleared that up, isn't it, really?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Brighton will have looked at the loan moves that we've had, the successful loan moves, and the likes of James Trafford and Connor Bradley, and gone, yeah, we wouldn't mind a bit of that. And yeah, I think I think it would be unwise for them to recall him, put it that way. But who knows? Football is a funny old game. And Daryl, thanks for your contribution. If you would like to see more of Daryl contributing, then if you tune in next weekend to our post-Wigan podcast, Daryl will be joining us for the show. So yeah, thank you very much, all of you who've joined in this evening. It has been fantastic. The live chat has been booming. So thank you all for joining us. Colin, Dan, thank you for taking time out of your evening to spend with us chatting all things Wanderers as well. But it has been a pleasure. Thank you, as always, to our channel members for tuning in. But in terms of next podcast, you will see us on Thursday for our preview show. Until the next time, though, take care. You've been watching the Fanzone podcast, post-match show sponsored by Loving My Socials. We will see you all very soon. No, I don't look like Triple H, Brandon. We're going to round off the episode because I can't take any more of this. Thank you all very much for watching. See you later.
Take care, everyone.